This video is about something I don't talk about much because it hasn't really been an issue itself specifically. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in my 20s, and right now with the psychiatrist, who is very good, we're in the process of unraveling how much was really bipolar disorder, because I do have autism. And a lot of what was thought to be bipolar disorder issues are now seen or recognized to be autism issues. But I have still been taking medication for bipolar disorder. It just has not been an issue for me in decades, because the medication I take works, which is lithium. Let me rephrase that. I can no longer take it. A couple years ago, I was in the hospital because of lithium toxicity due to poor management by my previous psychiatrist, medication interaction, and then I got massively dehydrated. I couldn't walk. I couldn't figure out how to use my phone. I was in the hospital, just flushing my kidneys, checking my kidney level. Lithium, high level, it affects the kidneys, and it all came down. My dose was lower. I was adamant to stay on it because life before it was in and out of the hospital, which I did not enjoy. I don't understand how some people enjoy the chaos of psychiatric disorders. I do not. I take care of myself. I take my medication. I go to my appointments. I exercise. I relax. I do it all because I don't like that life. But lithium was a wonder drug, and it's often used as a diagnosis drug. Everything's been fine until last week. I got my blood drawn as every 3 months, but I looked at it, and both my lithium and my creatinine levels are high, which means my lithium is affecting my kidneys, which therefore is not flushing out the lithium, and so the lithium is just a hot mess. And he had said, if this is a matter of your kidneys, I have to take you off of it. It's a medication I've been on for decades. My body and my brain are going to go through a massive, massive change. And I don't know what that's going to be like. And what is life going to be like for me? Am I going to be back to, was a lot of it autism, and the sensory swing and stuff and all of that's going to make it not as bad as I'm thinking? Or am I going to become psychotic and end up in the hospital? I don't want that life. I don't like that life. I don't want a string of letters to be my account description. I'd like to whittle it down to like 2 thank you. I don't want to collect a bunch of, I have this and this and this and this. Because honestly, it's not the label. It's not the name of your disorder. That's for insurance. It's the symptoms that a good doctor treats. That being said, if you pray, please throw me in there for a little, that my creatinine level goes down and my kidney function goes back to normal, and that I don't end up an absolute basket case without the medication. I think it's why I've been so easily irritated and frustrated and moody. I think that must be. I don't have any physical symptoms. When I had the high level last time, I couldn't walk. I had to use a walker in the hospital. I couldn't figure out how to use my phone. I was scared because I was in the hospital. It was 2 hours away. My mom's in her 70s. I have no family near me. So I was all alone for 4 days in this clouded state of mind. I didn't know the date. I didn't know the president. You know, they ask you those questions. I sometimes could say yes, sometimes no, sometimes I don't know, and it's all. And I had been driving down the wrong side of the highway without my headlights on. I was 2 hours away, and my mom had to stay on the phone with me to make sure I got home. It was terrifying. Excuse me. Lithium toxicity is terrifying. You can end up in a coma, and I was very close to that. But the alternative was, you know, life without that drug was terrifying, because I know what it's like to come out of an episode where you now know that you were completely out of your mind and all these things are not true. And that's scary too. It's terrifying to know that you could be acting on things that weren't real. And then you have a period of what is real. Am I really in this room sitting here talking to this camera? So I'm hoping what's going to happen is there are other drugs, but I have this long list of drugs I will not take because of side effects. I've been on everything. That's why I clung to it so and stayed on what I was for so long. I never missed a dose. And but you said there's new stuff, but then that means going through that whole process again of let's try this. Oh, that's not working. Let's try this. It's like, it messes with your head. Honest, for real. And I don't want that process. So what I'm praying for is go off of lithium, get on something else, and the first drug works just fine and great and wonderful. And all the other symptoms are autism related, and I can handle that with management. So anyway, there's that. Fun. The fun never ends.